All right, so I want to take a moment to talk through the first FRQ, which is the AP calendar problem. Again, not so much for grading it, but more so just with some extra tips and insights and give you an opportunity to ask questions. So first things first, in part A, what I wanted to share was a couple of things. One, be careful with your loop rounds. We need to go from year 1 to year 2 inclusive. So that's why it needs to be y is less than or equal to year 2. We're so used to writing like y is less than whatever, right, as that middle part of our for loop. But in this case, we got to have less than or equal to because we need to actually check year 2. A couple other things that I think are worth mentioning based on things I've seen in the past. Make sure that you initialize. This is one of our classic like loop algorithms right here, right? We're counting how many times a condition occurs. So make sure you initialize the counter before the for loop to 0 and set it to 0. And make sure you don't return until the for loop finishes. Okay? Those are two important steps there. And that's really the feedback I have on part A. Oh, one more other thing I wanted to mention too, and you saw this in the scoring guidelines, but all of the methods if I scroll up here to the question, all of the methods in this AP calendar class are static, okay? Static methods mean we don't need to create a new AP calendar object. We can just call the methods directly on the class. That means you can't use this anywhere within a static method. So you can't say if this dot is leap year. If you want to be explicit about this method is leap year, you can do that, but you have to use the class name. So you could say, if you said if AP calendar dot is leap year, that is totally fine. So a little tip there about static methods. On part B, I think part B is a little bit more tricky from like kind of an algorithmic problem solving sense. Again, these are all static methods. So you could put AP calendar, but not this, in front of first day of year and day of year. Personally, like when I'm trying to calculate something like this, I need to like double check it. And so one test-taking tip I have for you is after you write your code for part B, try it out based on one of the examples. Now, we never want to write code specific to an example. The code has to be generic. But we can use the example as like a test case for our code. So I would, for part B, after I wrote that code, I would use this example here of January 10th, 2019, falling on a Thursday, okay? And we were told here that first day of the year for 2019 returns a 2. So we know that this method should return a 4, and we know that first day of the year returns a 2. So in the code, I would actually like try those values. I'd be like, oh, okay, start day is going to have a value of 2, end day is going to have a value of 10. Let me plug in 10 plus 2 minus 1, that's 11, mod 7, 11 mod 7 is 4, cool, it works out, right? This expression right here is basically calculating like the distance between the 2 points, right? So it's like, well, not really, where we're starting plus 1, but like, sorry, the minus 1 I think can get tricky. Like, do I need the minus 1? Do I not need the minus 1? Plugging in concrete values from the example is an easy way to check that and just make sure that you've got it the right way and you don't have the all too common off by 1 error. So those are my general thoughts on this particular question. What questions do you have? Let's see here.